Shalom. My name is Yehoshua Yaakov, and this is being made from Jerusalem. I'm a didactic scientist, formerly Michael O'Donnell, an American citizen. I lived for 22 years. Um, Keith, generally speaking, well done. There are a couple of things that need clarification. One, you've hit the bullseye with um, Mr. Bush, but you've let the real culprit have a holiday. The evil, the axis of evil begins at Dick Cheney's desk, goes through Bush's desk, and ends up in every PAC operation in Washington. Okay, the rest is history. The Halliburton scam. Hey, look, we're going into Iraq for those weapons of mass destruction. Let's see. Let's arrange. Let's not have any problem here to see that Halliburton makes $3.5 billion net profit on $15 billion of revenue in 2007. Hey, let's get those cronies lined up to get their pockets lined. Okay. The bottom line, what has to be said here is very significant. It is this. Before you are too completely strident, you're in the generality correct, but let's get to some specifics. The God of the cosmos and the God of Israel doesn't lie, and the reports received here over years is that the banker for Saddam Hussein was the banker for Osama bin Laden was Saddam Hussein, and that's not from the networks that have a vested interest in their spin, so that they can get their agenda put on the air. That said, that's about the only thing that Cheney got right, and there is no one in this world that I can think of who has that I have more contempt for than Dick Cheney. But I'm also not a hypocrite. He got that right, and I can assure you George Bush didn't. He's led George Bush by the nose and by the hand in short pants since day one. He's been President Cheney from day one. And that's at Bush's father's direction and insistence. Okay, we know all of this. Now, I want to say something far, far more significant and give a context to history. And in particular 9/11. And the prefix to that context is this. Before the God of the cosmos, the God of Israel, does something, he informs mankind in the generality, and Israel in particular. I have a Ruach HaKodesh since I'm a young man, and on 9/11 I received what the meta-narrative was, and essentially, in heuristic terms, the end of man and mankind's exile is the watershed event of 9/11. Its meta-narrative is on four levels: on the psychosocial, the behavioral, the cognitive, and the psycholinguistic level. On the psychosocial level, its meaning is the collapse of both east-west systems. They'll converge into the middle, and there's a new model, and it's called Humanomics, that will replace both east and west. That's the east-west convergence model, and the post-collapse local reality is Humanomics. On the second level, the behavioral level, the two major monotheistic religions, Islam and Christianity, imploding. On the third level, which is the cognitive level, the two largest economies in the world, America and Japan, under the fundamental stresses of energy at a cost of $126 a barrel and heading north. They're imploding, and we've already seen Japan's several. So the Asian capital markets are signaling Japan's collapse, and America's capital markets are as well in core meltdown structurally. We've seen 100,000 jobs shed by the banking sector in Wall Street. More to come. They're not making money like they used to. One guy in Wall Street made $3.2 billion shorting the specious crap that industry touted on the markets, the world capital markets, the subprime pile of garbage, this guy went out and shorted it and made $3.2 billion. Hey, that's good work if you can get it. The extreme bias of Wall Street over Main Street is ended. Game's up, folks. Now, I said before something happens, it's reported, and it was reported, and so in secular terms, the end of the pre-modern and modern era, for the ascent of man to the postmodern era, whose central organizing principle of the postmodern era is receiving to give, which is the new cognitive behavioral science first principle. And for the secular, for the traditional and the religious, regardless of culture, it is the redemption of man and mankind, and its central organizing principle is also receiving to give in terms of its religious connotation. For the Jewish people, I can tell you what it means. It means the new halakha of redemption. Kabel b'shvilatet, that's Hebrew, and for English it's receiving to give. Okay, but only for the religious, they don't see it in the perspective of the cognitive behavioral science first principle. Humanomics is the humanity's new center of gravity. It is what converges the collapsed East and West models. I'm the author of Humanomics, the trilogy, 2,500 pages to be published on the web very soon, a few hundred graphics. Okay, so before the God of the cosmos changes something fundamentally, Aleph he informs us and Bet he provides for the new. So there are 4 levels, and I can assure you that the mailman, that's what I am, indeed, a didactic scientist saying this is the meta-narrative of 9/11, okay, and nobody wants to hear it, but slowly, it's self-revealing and confirming. As a didactic scientist, I had the unfortunate experience in life of having discovered a very economical way to make Californium 252 by the truckloads. It's a little metaphor, and coming to Israel, that's been the blight of my life, but we'll not speak about that specious and spurious exercise over the last 22 years. It is what it is. I just wish we had a Keith Olbermann in Israel to take Mr. Shimon Peres on, because the fact of the matter is we have in this country some problems, and some of the worst problems in the history of this country came from this rather specious source. But that said, we're not as advanced as America just yet. Having said that, Jonathan Pollard is still in the slammer because they're looking for who the handler was for the other spies in America. And here comes this clown Bush in short pants the day before yesterday and yesterday, who's walking up and down the streets and shaking hands and sitting and breaking bread with the very guy that all of the clowns can't find, and he's every bit of the jerk you've described him to be, and far worse. But the most specious of all is Cheney, and the ultimate contempt I reserve for him, because he has blood on his hands. His agenda was more important than the lives of these young Americans. Having said all of this, we're in between. The God of the cosmos has created a transformation, a collapse of the local reality of man and mankind's exile. It's ended. And we cannot yet ascend because of Klal Yisrael's denial. And when that denial ends, we will end the blocking, and man and mankind can ascend to inhabit the quantum reality, which is the things that I've said earlier. It is receiving to give, receiving the authentic you. To give the authentic you to who? To the authentic you. To your spouse, to your family, your children, your community, to the nation, and to the world. That's where we are, that's where we're going, that's the destination, that's the purpose of why we're all here. This is the direction, this is what we're all about. And this is the future of Israel, this is the future of man and mankind. Don't shoot the mailman. It's after we get past the bad news, it's all good news. Having said that, thank you for listening. I'm a didactic scientist. My name is Yehoshua Yaakov. I live in Jerusalem, an American citizen. Thank you for listening. Shalom.